Indonesia, alma mater tercinta, junjungan kita.
Therefore, knowledge on current issues of literary studies will enhance the level of novelty to the student's proposal. Because staying informed about current issues in literary studies equips us with critical insights into the latest trends, debates, and methodological innovations in the field. This awareness enables us to position our research within ongoing scholarly conversations, making our proposal not only more relevant but also more original. By engaging with cutting-edge topics such as post-structuralism, digital literature, environmental criticism, or the colonial perspective, we will demonstrate a forward-thinking approach that can significantly elevate the novelty and scholarly contributions of our research. In this case, there are several current issues of literary study that we have to understand. Number 1 is diversity and inclusion. Number 2, literature and technology. Number 3, eco-criticism. Number 4, globalizations and transnationalism. Number 5, interdisciplinary approach. And number 6, critical theory, cultural politics, and identity. Now we come to number 1, diversity and inclusions. There has been an increasing emphasis on diversity and inclusion within literary studies, with scholars examining works from a broader range of cultural perspectives and underrepresented voices. This includes the explorations of literature by authors from marginalized communities and the critique of canonical texts that may perpetuate biases. In recent years, literary study has undergone a significant shift toward embracing diversity and inclusion as central critical frameworks. Scholars are increasingly engaging with texts written by authors from historically marginalized or underrepresented communities, such as indigenous, Black, diasporic, and disabled voices, to highlight the richness and complexity of global literary production. This inclusive approach not only expands the literary canon, but also involves re-evaluating established works through the lens of critical race theory, post-colonialism, feminism, and other perspectives that uncover hidden biases and power dynamics. By doing so, literary research contributes to a more equitable and socially conscious academic landscape. Number 2 is literature and technology. The relationship between literature and technology remains a fruitful area of inquiry. Scholars examine how literature reflects and responds to technological advancement, digital cultures, and virtual realities, while also exploring the impact of digital platforms on reading practices and literary production. The intersections of literature and technology continues to offer rich and evolving ground for scholarly exploration. Researchers investigate how literary texts engage with themes of technological innovations, such as artificial intelligence, surveillance, and digital identity, while also analyzing how narratives are shaped by and respond to contemporary digital culture and virtual environments. This includes studying genre like cyberpunk, speculative fictions, and digital poetry that directly engage with technological themes. Additionally, scholars examine how the rise of digital platforms such as e-books, web fictions, interactive narratives, and social media has transformed traditional modes of literary productions, distributions, and reception. This shift challenge conventional notions of authorship, textuality, and the reader's role, signaling a profound redefinitions of literature in the digital age. The next is eco-criticism. With growing concerns about climate change and ecological sustainability, there has been a surge of interest in environmental criticism within literary studies. Scholars examine how literature represents the relationship between humans and the environment, as well as how literature can influence environmental attitudes and activism. In response to the escalating global climate crisis and the urgent call for ecological sustainability, literary studies has been a marked rise in environmental criticism, also known as eco-criticism. This approach explores how literary texts portray nature, ecological systems, environmental degradations, and the human-nature relationship. Scholars analyze how literature reflects, critiques, and reimagines human interactions with the environment, often uncovering the ideological, ethical, and emotional dimensions of ecological awareness. Moreover, eco-criticism considers the potentials of literature to raise environmental consciousness, challenge anthropocentric worldviews, and inspire social and political actions around environmental issues. From romantic poetry to contemporary climate fictions or sci-fi, literature is increasingly viewed as a vital culture force in shaping ecological understanding and advocacy. The next is globalization and transnationalism. Nowadays, literary studies increasingly focus on transnational connections, global movements, and the circulations of ideas across borders. Scholars explore how literature reflects and shapes global identities, cultures, and political dynamics. In today's interconnected world, literary studies has expanded its scope to embrace transnational perspectives, emphasizing the movement of texts, ideas, and cultural expressions across geographical, linguistics, and political boundaries. Therefore, scholars investigate how literature transcends national frameworks to engage with global issues such as migration, diaspora, colonialism, globalizations, and cultural hybridity. This approach reveals how literary works not only reflect but also actively participate in the constructions of global identities and intercultural dialogues. Transnational literary studies challenge traditional nation-based canons and open up space for voices from diverse regions, enabling a more inclusive and nuanced understanding of literature as a dynamic force in shaping global consciousness and political realities. The next is interdisciplinary approach. There is a growing tendency towards interdisciplinary approaches in literary studies, with scholars drawing on insights from fields such as history, sociology, and psychology to enrich their analysis of literature. This interdisciplinary dialogue expands the horizons of literary studies. Now, literary studies is increasingly embracing interdisciplinary approaches, recognizing that literature does not exist in a vacuum but is deeply interconnected with broader human experiences and knowledge systems. scholars are now engaging with theories and methods from fields such as history, sociology, psychology, anthropology, philosophy, and media studies to deepen and diversify their literary analysis. For instance, understanding historical context can illuminate the political undercurrents of a novel, while psychological theories can reveal the inner workings of characters' development and reader response. This interdisciplinary engagement allows for more holistic and nuanced interpretations, opening up new pathways for inquiry and expanding the intellectual reach for literary studies beyond traditional textual analysis. And the last is critical theory, cultural politics, and identity. Now, literary studies continue to engage with various critical theories, including postcolonialism, feminism, queer theory, post-structuralism, and Marxism. Besides, the discussions also intersect with broader debates around cultural politics, identity politics, and social justice. Scholars critically examine how literature reflects and contests power structures, ideologies, and forms of oppressions with a particular focus on issues such as race, gender, sexuality, class, and disability. Contemporary literary studies remain deeply engaged with a wide range of critical theories that offer powerful tools for analyzing how texts interact with structures of power, ideology, and resistance. Therefore, frameworks such as postcolonialism, feminism, queer theory, post-structuralism, and Marxism provide scholars with lenses to interrogate literature's role in shaping, challenging, or reproducing social norms and hegemonies. These critical approaches intersect with broader social debates on cultural politics, identity, politics, and social justice, making literary analysis not only a scholarly pursuit but also a form of civic engagement. Researchers critically explore how literature addresses or is complicit in issues of racial inequality, gender oppressions, heteronormativity, class struggle, and ableism. Through this, literary studies contribute to understanding literature as both a reflection of and a challenge to the socio-political forces that govern lived realities. To sum up, as scholars of literature, your role is not merely to interpret texts, but to engage critically with the world through them. This course invites you to navigate the evolving landscape of literary studies, with its theories, methods, and critical debates, not as a set of rigid rules, but as a rich terrain for discovery, innovations, and intellectual courage. Whether you are drawn to questions of power, identity, aesthetics, or the digital future of literature, your research matters. It shapes how we read, how we think, and how we imagine new possibilities. So, as you embark on this journey, remember, literary research is not just about what has been written. It's about what you are writing into being. I think this is the end of our learning sessions. Thank you for watching. I am Yuseano Kardiansyah. See you on the next learning video.
Universitas Teknokrat Indonesia, alma mater kita.